Welcome back to my channel, guys. If you're new, welcome. My name is Karen. So as you can tell by the title, I'm going to be sharing with you guys my experience of when I was 16 years and pregnant. So if this is your first time clicking on this video, I am currently 33 years old. I am happily married and I have 6 boys. And with my husband, I have 5 boys that are his. And then the oldest child is not my husband's biological son, which is my firstborn. So when I was 16 years old, I began a job at a check cashing place, and I would cash my baby daddy's checks there. So that's how we met. And we had a one night stand, which out of that one night stand, I became pregnant. Things that I wish I knew at the time that I know now, obviously, but at the time I didn't know were the importance of um, protecting yourself or the precautions that you are able to take to avoid getting pregnant or having a child at such a young age. Now, in no way, shape, or form am I encouraging anybody, teenagers, mainly, to that it's okay to go, and have sex. No. My thing is, what I'm trying to get let out is pretty much what I wish I knew back then that I now know. So I didn't have a relationship with my mom because my dad passed away when I was 10 years old. So with my mom, and I do have an older sister, and I also have brothers, but I didn't have that relationship, that open relationship of talking about sex or asking questions. It was just not something that was flat out on the table that it was okay to do. So my sister, she married, she had a child, she lived in another state. When all of this was happening, when I became pregnant at such a young age, my mother, she didn't have, like I said, open relationship as far as being able to communicate, or an open communication is what I'm trying to say. So I didn't feel, I could probably say, safe to go and talk to her about it. To be honest, I couldn't just be like, hey, mom, I had sex. I didn't feel like I could trust her in her. Like a friend, when you have a friend and you tell them everything. I didn't have that with my mom. So now that I'm a mother, as I mentioned, I think back on a lot of things that I could have had with my mom to even avoid getting pregnant. Because the reality is, if you're gonna have sex, you're gonna do it and you're gonna find a way to do it. So, taking precautions, being safe, I feel is very important to know and to be educated on, because it could save you from, being pregnant. It can save you from an STD, getting AIDS, HIV, and all of that. So, again, that's one thing that I wish my mother would have spoken to me about or educate me when I was young. So I got pregnant and I was working. I worked through my whole 9 months. At that time, I thought I had it all figured out because I had a job. I was making good money, you can say, for my age. I was living with my mom and I didn't really have bills to pay. So all the income that I was getting, I was, at that time, being pregnant, I was pretty much spending it on my baby, buying a crib, buying clothes, buying shoes, buying everything that I could possibly think of for my baby, diapers, wipes. So I was pregnant. I was going to doctor visits. So at the beginning, I was paying for my doctor visits. Um, After my child was born, I did struggle. And as I mentioned, this goes back to having that educational talk. I struggled because I was not financially stable, for one. I was not financially prepared for what was to come. In 2007, when my child was born, the economy was down. My mom was not working. The other financial provider in the house was my brother. He did have work, very good work at the time, but when the economy came crashing down, he lost his job, or there was no more work. It was very slow. So he was barely making it to, paying the mortgage and the bills and stuff like that. So when I had my baby, I was struggling, you guys. As I mentioned, I was making good money. I was splurring my money. I was not saving because I didn't know any better. Again, I thought I knew it all and I had it all figured out, but I honestly didn't know anything. Nobody sat down with me or even tell me, hey, save up some money because you're going to be out for 6 weeks out of work to care for your baby. You can't just go back to work after you have a baby. Like, those are things that I did not know. So, um, a week after my baby was born, I really tried to breastfeed, but I couldn't. I felt like I was being too stressed. I felt like my body was not capable of nursing my baby. And so I was substituting with formula. And I came after a week, I came to a point where I was just like, you know what, I can't do it. I'm gonna put my baby on formula. And I put my baby on formula. At the second week, I ran out of formula and I didn't know how I was gonna pay for my baby's formula. I was in a new relationship with my now husband, but I didn't have that trust to ask him for money. So my mom, she tried to do what she could, borrow some money. I was looking for coins around the house. I was just very, like, really scraping for coins at that time, like looking where can I find coins, like under the couch, in the laundry. Like, I was looking, you guys, everywhere around the house for some money to put together so that I could buy formula for my child. So I really, really struggled, and it was not easy. Um, so, again, things that I wish I knew back then that I do know now is being a teen mom is not easy, especially if you don't have the education as far as, the responsibility that comes with being a parent, you needing a job or being somewhat financially stable so that when you do have that baby, you are not in a situation where you're going to find yourself struggling even for your baby's formula. Formula is, the one thing that if you don't breastfeed, formula is one thing that you need to make sure that your baby has. Because for my baby, my mom, the days that my child did not have a formula, my mom was making rice water. She was making oatmeal water. It was sad. Like, it was so sad, you guys. Like, I can't tell you how my heart broke to know that my body couldn't provide milk enough for my baby. Like, I would nurse him and he would still cry. And there was no formula. There was no money for formula. And my mom also was heartbroken because, she couldn't help to buy any formula. So it was very, very hard. So my message is pretty much, educate yourself, have that open relationship with your parents, or if you're a parent watching this, have that open communication with your child, regardless if it's a girl or a boy. I know with my boys, I feel it's important and it's my job to educate them from being safe or from avoiding it, period. Because it only takes one time, as I mentioned before, it only takes one time to get pregnant. It only takes one time to get an STD, and that's something that you cannot come back from. And I am going to leave this here. I will be doing a part two, but I do want you guys to leave any comments, any questions that you have, leave them in the comment section down below so that way I can answer them in my next video. So again, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next one.